Yeah, we're finally back to the Italian destroyers. You thought I forgot about these, right? Well, I wish I kind of had forgotten about them. These ships are really, really tough to play. They don't have very much range. Their DPM is really quite abysmal. They don't have great concealment. Their torpedoes are, well, they're not YOLO Emilio torps, right? So it makes it a very weird ship to play. I've been putting off grinding these ships just because I had such a horrible experience as I got the tier 8. But I'm done with the tier 8 grind now. We'll see how the tier 9 goes, but I'm here to let you know about my experiences while playing the tier 8. I found a very weird playstyle with this ship, and it includes dazzle. Yes, you saw right at the bottom middle of the screen there. When I get spotted for 15 seconds, I'm using dazzle. So that means enemy ships have 20% worse dispersion while shooting at me during those 15 seconds. This ship needs to play aggressive. Its smokescreen, its insanely short duration, powerful speed boost results in this ship just having to play aggressive. You have to play at close range, and taking duels is very tough in this game, especially as we get into high tier, since there's so many radars and ways to deal with destroyers that push in aggressively. So we need to do this smart. So playing the middle of the map here is actually a good idea, considering they don't really have much for radar to deal with, and we have 2 submarines pushing in. If I can help my friendly subs take out the enemy submarines while also dealing with an enemy destroyer, this is a great start. And I think this is where the Italian destroyers are going to shine. It's in these close range knife fights against other destroyers. Of course, they don't have the best DPM, but my goodness, does this sap hurt. The alpha damage is quite nice. Assuming you're hitting your shots, these things definitely can hurt. As we're going to take out this Unicum here, dodging his torps, and we go dark instantly. This is one of the nice parts about the ship having relatively poor range, right? We go dark as soon as we're done killing off the enemy destroyer. So I really don't think that these are going to be meta-defining amazing ships, and honestly, if they buffed the DPM too much, SAP is just so hard to balance that it would quickly become overpowered. So I'm not saying this thing needs insane DPM buffs, they're just very hard ships to use. So I'm going to play even more aggressive now. Our smokescreen is coming back off cooldown, and we're about to have our speed boost as well. This is a great opportunity to go after the enemy submarine. There's really not much stopping us. The torpedoes, well, they're not amazing. They at least do have some range. The problem is the alpha damage. It's like 10,000 alpha damage, which is really, really bad considering saturation and torpedo protection cuts this down. So you're hitting like 6,000, 7,000 damage torps, which feels pretty rough. But that said, I kind of had fun. This was my best game in this ship, and I kind of had fun playing this one. I'm not going to lie. It was weird. It was a challenge, though, right? I'm not enjoying this ship because, oh, it's just easy mode. Look at me stomping through an enemy team. I enjoyed this match because it went well, and it was very hard to play. And there's something rewarding about that. But yeah, it doesn't make it a very good ship to play when you're in unfavorable positions. Here we're getting quite lucky, I would say, with the lack of radar, the lack of cruiser support for these destroyers and submarines. And yeah, you better believe we're just going to charge right in after this sub. We have to watch out for the Amagi shooting us, but again, dazzle is up for a little bit, so we can hopefully make use of that. A weird strategy that may or may not work, I'm still not sure, is to use dazzle to push in like this. Once dazzle has run out, right, we no longer have that 20% debuff to people shooting us, you could potentially pop your smoke screen and then continue charging in, and once your smoke screen runs out, you get a fresh round of dazzle. And then you can use your speed boost to turn around and run away and do stuff like that. There's some really weird gameplay opportunities here. I'm not sure if they work at all. I'm trying to play aggressive here, right? We're getting in the face of this submarine, and we're actually very close to this Amagi. We get pretty lucky. He shot at something else right as we got spotted. And of course, everyone hates submarines, right? So this guy's going to go down very quickly as soon as we have him spotted. So a decent start, managing to at least assist in taking down an entire enemy destroyer and 2 enemy submarines. But yeah, look at that torp damage. 4 torp hits on an Amagi that's relatively low HP, and we still don't kill him. But 60k damage, it's not bad. I think my average in this ship was not great. But we'll look at that a little bit later. This ship is very difficult to get damage in. I think the biggest issue is once you're not able to use that sap, once ships are saturated, right? That's the big problem with sap, is the alpha damage feels really amazing until ships saturate. The DPM falls off a cliff. So as soon as we're not getting those 2,000, 3,000 damage salvos and the sap is starting to do 1,000 damage, it's painful. I'm not gonna lie. The reload is incredibly painful. And to show that really is, we got a Vermont to farm here. And this is just gonna be a free farm, right? Vermont's got such a long reload and we're very maneuverable. We can control this engagement very easily. But notice we're starting this fight with 65,000 damage. And, well, we're gonna be shooting this guy a long time. The fire chance is around 8%, I believe, with this build, and we hardly get fires. So maybe there's an element of RNG to this as well, but I don't know. The DPM just feels incredibly lackluster as soon as we're not fighting against something that's unsaturated, that's broadside, that we can hit with our sap. So maybe, I guess, an interesting way to play this ship, or an interesting way to buff or change these Italian DDs, is to give them better DPM with their HE than their AP. I'm not sure if they'd be interested in adding that kind of gimmick to the game where different ammo types give you different reloads. I'm not sure, but the DPM feels pretty rough. We'll see what happens once I get to the tier 9. I've heard some things about the tier 9 being worse, or the worst one in the line, so I'm a little terrified of that, if I'm honest, considering how rough this tier 8 was to play. I think that with the 6th upgrade slot, right, we're gonna get with tier 9, I can maybe slot reload. We're getting a bigger caliber of gun. I don't know. It's going to be rough. You'll see it eventually on this channel. I probably won't be grinding it very aggressively. I won't try and finish it all in one sitting, but I'll be playing it off and on to see. Just for now, though, let me know what you guys think of this Italian DD line. What could they do to change it? I don't really think I want an entire line of Paulo Emilios. That'd be pretty frustrating to fight against, but at the same time, these feel a little bit just weak to me. And I don't think that they need to be overpowered. I don't really want every new line to be better than the last, but these ones are just, they're just weird, and perhaps that's just my lack of experience with them and needing to play them a little bit more. But we've been farming this guy for quite some time, and we're barely at 85k damage. Finally, we get a fire, but that's 20,000 damage in, what, 3 minutes of farming this guy? 2 minutes? 2.5 minutes? Finally, the fire starts ticking and we're doing a better job. But yeah, although he repairs instantly. It's the DPM that's lacking here. And while the damage output is really good against softer targets, right? That's going to be a likely suggestion is, well, you got to go after softer or lightly armored targets. It's really good damage until they saturate. And saturation happens pretty quick against lightly armored targets. That's how they tend to stay alive a little bit longer. You can see extreme examples in the French destroyers, of course, but every ship has saturation to some extent. And that's what really puts a damper on the sap performance over time. So I do manage to get up over 100k in this game thanks to this Vermont letting us farm him. He doesn't really have much of choice in the matter, right? We're at 7 kilometers away from this guy at this point. This poor guy, honestly. I feel for him. I've been in that battleship. It's very frustrating to have a DD that's just sitting in front of you, farming you, and there's nothing you can really do about it. Unfortunately for him, his team has evaporated, and this was a bit of a blowout game, I'll admit it, but I do think that this was an more interesting blowout, since I think we had a pretty large contribution to that blowout. Oh, there we go. Vermont finally gets a good hit on us. I think killing the 2 subs and the DD in the beginning played a huge role in our team just stomping through this one, but yeah, let me know what you think of these Italian DDs. Seriously, I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say. Are there any playstyle recommendations from you guys? Ways I could be changing things? We'll take a look at the build I have. I am running a full 21-point commander to try and get the most out of it. It's been challenging, though. It's been challenging. Running some boosters in that, right? Our base XP is insane here, actually. Pretty good. We get some really good XP, and the credit income's pretty decent as well, assuming you're running boosters. So the build, we're going to take a look at it on the tier 9 because I already sold off the tier 8. But this is what I was running. A bit of a concealment, dazzle. I'm trying to make use of this dazzle. I think that playing these ships aggressively just has to happen. So 20% worse dispersion is a lot, and I'm hoping that's going to help us. I'm not sure. It could be that we're just better off running Fearless Brawler or Main Battery AA Specialist. I'm not sure, but it's been a little bit rough. But this is the build that I have been using, or at least I was using in this video. As far as equipment, again, on the tier 8, we don't get Main Battery Upgrade Mod 3, but we do get Concealment. I was definitely running Propulsion, Aiming System, since we don't have a ton of DPM. We need to hit as many shells as we possibly can. Even though the turret traverse is a little bit rough, I think we do definitely want Aiming Systems mod. It's tough, man. It's very, very tough to play. I'm considering even... Actually, I was going to say I'm considering running range mod, but we don't even get access to range mod on this thing. So the tier 9, we get 11 kilometers range. Yikes, guys. Yikes. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too stuck in my ways of the typical farming destroyer with gunboats, right? I don't know. As for the results, keep in mind I did play this ship a little bit in ranked when it first came out, so that's why you're not seeing all of the battles played. I only had 5 random battles, but we averaged 70k damage. It's okay. 80% win rate. You know, small sample size, but yeah, not every game was one of these 100k farming games, as you can tell. There were some pretty downer games as we went through, just because of the lack of DPM. So that's been the tier 8 Italian destroyer. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm going to move on to the tier 9 now, trying to grind that one out, but yikes, this line so far is rough. I'm not sure which one I would rather play. Probably the French cruisers, the new French battle cruisers, over this one. Just because these are very, very challenging. At least the French cruisers have range where they can kind of just be shooting all the time, even though their guns are like atrocious until you get to the tier 10. These ones don't have the range, so you're on this fine line of not being able to push in, and then you push in just a little too far and you're dead instantly. And then if you don't push in, you don't have range to hit anything. So again, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you have any suggestions on playstyle changes, let me know. I'm all ears. I'd love to learn how to play these better. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.